And welcome back, folks. Another edition of the Michigan Football Breakdown focused on the defense with my man, your man, our man, one Mr. Vance Bedford. As I always say, we are on the train. It's a train that comes and goes, whether they win or lose. And unfortunately for us, Michigan lost last week for the first time in the regular season in years, for the first time in front of people at home in a bunch of years. As Texas Longhorns came in and they took care of business, fans. I mean, your Longhorn folks, your Longhorn family, they must have been super happy with you. Vance, did they take it easy on you based on how your Longhorns did last week?
I had a few people reach out to me, but I don't get a lot of feedback from those guys. Every once in a while, I go listen to Orange Bloods, but I've been busy this week to see what they're going to say. But I texted them last week. I said Texas is going to win by 11 plus points, which they did. And I also told fans last week, I said this Texas team reminds me of the Michigan team a year ago. 4 starting offensive linemen back, 2 and 3 year starters, a quarterback that's a 3-year starter. So that's what we face. We went until we're only 4 starters returning from 22 from a year ago. So the expectations that I saw, I'm a little bit surprised that the defense played as poorly as they did, but I'm not surprised, Sam. I'm really not. I know some of the fans are because you're living in the past, but when you only have 4 starters coming back against a veteran football team, guess what? This is going to happen, and don't be surprised if it happens again, Sam. You got a lot of young people out there who haven't played a lot of football for Michigan. It's a new scheme, even though you say it's the same scheme. You got a different guy calling it. You got different coaches coaching every position. So you're going through growing pains. You got a quarterback who was a walk-on. To be honest, he looks like a walk-on at times. I'm just being honest about that. You got receivers that I might be able to go out there with one bad leg and be able to cover some of these guys because they came out of sight in 3 days. So you got a lot of things you got to deal with as far as moving forward. That's just where it is right now. So the fans need to be patient and continue to support the team and looking for the future. It's going to be a bright future. I think you have a good staff and a good young football team.
Well, let me tell you something, folks. This film study, the film studies, plural, these were different because we haven't had film studies like these in years where we had to break down losses. And the one with Vance was especially painful. It was especially painful, really painful. And Vance didn't pull any punches, but you know that about Vance. Vance never pulls any punches. He's going to shoot it to you straight and plain when it comes to the players. We've had players come on the episodes. We've had parents come on the episodes to talk about it. He's going to shoot it to you plain when it comes to the coaches. We've had coaches call me up and say, hey, Vance got a problem with my DBs.
Oh.
Yeah, we've had those calls before. And Vance, he's always gonna shoot it to you straight. And he was shooting it to you straight on the film study this week. So if you want to check out the film study, you're gonna learn a lot. You're gonna learn a lot. The film studies are available exclusively on Tom Brady's Autograph app. The Autograph app is free. It is a free app that is available on the Android and iOS. All right. So, Google, your Google store, your Apple store, it's available, easy to download. As a matter of fact, I'm gonna put a QR code on the screen for you right now, so you can grab it very, very easily for you right here, right now, live here on the episode. See, putting it on your screen for those of you who are watching live and on replay. So that makes it very simple for you. For those who don't like to scan QR codes, because I heard some folks don't like to do that, there's a link that you can go to download it. link.ag.fan/Sam Webb. That is link.ag.fan/Sam Webb. You can go there and you can download the app, the Autograph app. Very simple, very easy to do. That makes it a cinch to download the app. And the great thing about it, not only are the film studies available to you, they're exclusively on the Autograph app, but so many other great fan offerings for you Michigan fans. So all of your favorite podcasts, for instance, our Michigan Insider Morning Show, all of the podcasts flow through there. All of our free content from the MichiganInsider.com go through over there. Your favorite Michigan blogs content goes through over there. Michigan podcast content goes through over there. And as you consume all of that Michigan fan content, you accrue points. You can redeem those points for rewards. Great idea and concept by Tom Brady, rewarding you for being a fan. Doesn't get any better than that. So imagine that. You actually get rewarded for watching the film studies beyond actually learning something about football and about Michigan football at that. So download the Autograph app. It is free. Despite what someone said in the comment section a little while ago, they said, hey, you put it behind the paywall. No, we didn't. It is a free app. So enjoy it. And by the way, we are doing the Buckeye breakdown still. So in the Michigan bye week, we are going to be doing Buckeye film studies. First bye week coming up in a few weeks, and then the second bye week coming up later in the fall. We are going to be doing Buckeye breakdowns. We need you to help fund the Buckeye breakdowns because, hey, time is money for Vance. So you want to see Vance breaking down those Buckeyes twice this year? Get in that comment section, click that PayPal link, that description, click that PayPal link so Vance can break down those Buckeyes like the Buckeyes can't even do it and be ready for that Ohio State game later on in the season. Help us do just that. Vance Bedford, brother, you had me ready to bang my head against the wall or crack that whiskey that I have up in my office right here, which it's supposed to be a display bottle, but I'm ready to drink it based on what you said about this defense this week, brother.
Hey, I just called what I said. To be honest, it was bad. I expected the defense to play better than what they did. We didn't execute. Think about it. They were 8 for 10 on third down in the first half. And I'm not talking about third down and 1 to 3. They were mostly third down and 7 pluses. There's a lot of execution. Our pass rush lanes were just awful. Now, that could be cleaned up. Okay, they found ways to attack certain people. They never really went at Will Johnson. Think about that. They did not go at Will Johnson maybe once in the whole ball game. They stayed away from him. But they also stayed away from our defensive tackles. They ran gap scheme plays. They ran sweeps. They always had angles on those guys. My concern was that in the pass rush, our two big first-round projection defensive tackles, did they even play, Sam? If they did, it must have had somebody had their numbers on. They must have been off somewhere doing something else because they didn't show up. No rush line, they push the pocket, no stunts inside to get the guys loose. We let the quarterback have all day long. And when he did that, anybody's going to pick the secondary apart. And that's exactly what happened in that ball game.
Yeah, someone just said Vance, it seemed like Mason, as Sean Day said, Vance seemed like Mason and KG got handled in the middle. What was your grade on them?
Because they're supposed to be our guys. If I had to grade those guys, they got to see. But again, I'm going to go back to it. In the run game, they never went at those guys. They had angles. So now it's easy to block a guy if got an angle. They ran outside of those guys. In the pass game, again, Texas, they about 345, 350 with the guards. You can't bull rush those guys. And a lot of times we straight rush. Or we had a zone pressure on, which now those guys going lateral. Now I see people complaining about, why they got Mason or Graham standing up? Because they in a defense, when you're in a three-man front, you're not going to take Mason out of the game. So they got him standing up, and they got some type of zone pressure. He's rushing, so there's nothing wrong with that. I don't have an issue with that. My issue is that we are not executing. So I'm going to go back and look at why are we not executing? How's it being taught? Are we doing too much? Are the guys doing their own thing? So the first thing I would do, I'm finna cut back on what we're doing. I'm getting back to the basics. What's our base defense? Boom. Okay, now let's go to this game based on what they've done. We got 3 or 4 pressures. Let's execute these pressures, and I'm going to build off of that. It's great to come in and say, well, I know a lot of different defenses. Oh, that's great. But can your coaching staff that's new to you implement those defenses? Now, can your players learn a different terminology, even though some of the things are the same? Sam, all the terminology is not going to be the same. It really isn't. And so that's part of what you're dealing with. One time we ran cowboy, and you go back to the Fresno State game, say the 3 technique got a loop outside from contain to the field. Remember the quarterback scramble out? Well, guess what? The same thing happened this week. So I know it had to be corrected. I really believe it was corrected. So that kid wasn't paying attention. He's doing his own thing. Because if you and I, who don't have the video that they have, I'm doing off a television screen, can see that and make the correction, I know the meeting was made. So that kid doing his own thing is all I could say. He's not taking coaching. So if that is the case, start taking coaching. And quit worrying about your NIL and start playing football.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, I saw you giving it equally to both sides in the film study this week. You needing it. You talked about some adjustments needing to go to base defense and in some instances. So you called out some calls on the coaching side of things. But on the other side of things, you called out some execution. Like they had a 3rd and 13, and you had a young corner getting beat on. They were cover 3. You had a young corner getting beat on. And they're in cover.
Yeah.
On a double move.
And I had defensive ends who, against Fresno State, I thought we had Deacon Jones and Reggie White rushing the quarterback against Fresno State. Those guys just disappeared. They got engulfed. We rushed them right down the middle of a guy who weighed 350 pounds. How in the world are you going to rush a guy that's 6'6", that's 350 pounds? You're not. Get wide. It's 3rd down and 13. Let the quarterback get outside of you and throw a strike for a touchdown. So that's got nothing to do with the call. That's to do with the player. The player had no idea what was going on. He rushed right down the middle and got blocked. And there's some other times where they schemed us up pretty good. And I said this in the illustrations that it's as if Sarkisian was playing chess and Wink was playing checkers. It's like they had our defensive calls. They were always a step ahead of what we were doing. They went to 12 personnel. 12 personnel is 1 back, 2 tight ends. Okay. And then basically a slot formation. Well, we playing cover 4. We're in a 1 linebacker defense. So every time they saw that RPO, they ran the ball against a 1 linebacker defense. We never made an adjustment. It happened 3 different times for 10 yards or more. And to me, that's not necessarily the players, that's coaching. Now, we had the 2 linebackers we had last year. They probably would have gotten us lined up and adjusted and given us a chance to stop it. But we got inexperienced guys in there, and that showed.
Yeah, it's a tough thing right now, a tough predicament that they find themselves in with a combination of new coaches, some veteran guys who are used to doing things a certain way, right? And had success doing some things that way. And it's like, well, if they had success doing things that way, maybe they think they can keep doing it that way. So what do you do in that situation, Vance?
I think that the coaches and the players need to have a heart-to-heart. You don't have the same staff. They teach things differently than the previous guys taught them. The players got to adjust. The coaches are making some adjustments already, but the players got to adjust to their new coaches on defense. It's just that simple. And I don't know if that's working out or not. I'm not there to make that evaluation. But when I watch the video, it looks like the coaches and the players aren't. It's like the players doing their own thing sometimes. And sometimes you got to quit reading your press clippings and go and play football. Because right now, our 2 projected first-round picks inside, they look like 3rd, 4th, 5th-round picks right now. They look like average guys. And they playing a lot more plays, too. So people don't forget about that. They play, instead of playing 30 plays a game, they playing 55 plays a game. That's totally different, Sam. Instead of having to be on the sideline for 4 or 5 minutes and risk because the offense is going down the field eating the clock, now because the offense is struggling, you might get a minute rest. because their 3 plays are not real fast. So those are all the things that you're dealing with defensively. And sometimes the players like, man, can the offense give us a break and give me a couple first downs so at least I can talk to my coach and get water? And they get frustrated about that. I've been there, done that, trying to keep kids on the same page. Be patient. Let's just go be the big brother. And in this particular game, our defense, they should have been a big brother, and they weren't. Texas went up and down the football field, Sam. Went up and down the football field. 3rd and 13, first down. 3rd and 11, first down. 3rd and 7, first down. You got them right where you want them, and you can't get off the field on 3rd and long. Got nothing to do with the offense. Got nothing to do with the coaches. Players make plays, and they didn't.
Yeah, the 3rd and 13 and 3rd and 11 on that first drive. Those were that was unfortunately troubling because they got the 3rd and 13, and they actually got the 3rd and 11, but they got caught with the holding call that actually wiped the 3rd and 11 off the field, off the board, and then they missed the field goal. But the 3rd and 11 wound up being a sign of things to come because he breaks contain, gets outside, and then they come back. Might have been the next drive, and he breaks contain again, steps up in the pocket, and gets that run up touchdown.
It's all about pass rush lanes. We had none. It gets to a point when you're not winning one-on-one to straight rush, you got to switch the front. And remember last year, or was it 2 years ago, we talked about that. I said, we need to start twisting the front. A week later, guess what they were doing? We started twisting the front, guys coming free. Right now, they need to do something to twist the front because we're not winning one-on-ones right now against the really good players. Then you start standing in front, inside. Nose first, tackle around, things of that nature. So now you're running games to get somebody free. And right now, I don't see a lot of those things happening up front. We're just trying to win one-on-one. It's not happening. Against Fresno State, our defensive ends destroyed those tackles. Against Texas, we got engulfed.
Yes, I want you to, I want to get your position grades, and then we'll get to the questions from the people, because folks I can see the questions starting to pile up. If you have questions for Vance, put them in the comments because I want to get to them all, and I'll go ahead and put the prompt in the section right now. If you have questions for Vance, start lining them up. Go ahead and get on the train, and we'll get all your questions for Coach Bedford in this week because we actually got in on time, so we can get a full question and answer session in, so we can make sure that we get you your full time with Coach Bedford. But Vance, let's start up front. You kind of alluded to it. There was just a question about the defensive tackles, but what would be your grade for the defensive front in the Texas game?
I got to give them a C-. And I'm giving you a C- because against the run game, we never fit things right. We never spilled the football. Our lineman was bad. In the passing game, we lost contain. Whether it's being an outsider, we gave a quarterback room to step up inside. So you give them a C- for that. For the linebackers, I'm gonna give them a D+. I mean, we disguise ourselves out of position to make plays. They're in 12 personnel. I call it, this is another slot formation. We're in a one linebacker defense. They got to check with me. They run gap scheme plays. We don't have a chance whatsoever. Okay, and then you go in the secondary right now. I mean, 3rd down and long, I know they had time sometimes, but from double moves, from carrying routes to different things, we had bust after bust. They got a D-. So you go across the board, we probably average a D+ with the defense. And that can't happen. They cannot happen with an inexperienced offense with an inexperienced quarterback that's struggling.
It feels like the fixes with the defensive front are more discipline. It's more attention to detail. That's what that feels like. You tell me if I'm wrong with that. You're the coach. Address that. Address what it feels like the fixes are up front. What would you?
Just you hit it on the head. Fundamentals.
Yeah.
Teach the guys to understand the game. Okay, understand what's going on. For example, if you go to the film study, we had 2 plays back to back. Both of them was either counter or pin pull. And we talked about the alignment of the tight end. Okay, one of them, the tight end was stacked, the U was stacked right behind the Y. Well, he's there for a reason. He's coming back across. But last year, I could see guys pointing at this guy here like he's coming back across. The next play, he was a little bit wider, so he's going to stay front side. So those are things that last year's football team understood, you could see the guys communicating about what was going to happen to them. The players on Saturday, they had no idea what was going on. Those are some things could be cleaned up. The next thing is for our big guys inside right now, we're not winning one-on-one. Snap the front. In other words, twist guys. Have snaps with the tackle in the end, the nose in the end, or between the nose and the tackle. That's what they have done in the past. Okay, we need to get back to doing those things to turn those guys loose. Because we just talked about last year how we had certain plays where this guy to sacrifices his body for the other guy to come clean. Then the next series, then it was the other way around. Right now, I'm not seeing those kind of stunts. I'm really not. We're playing straight up, and we're not winning straight up right now.
Mm-hmm. Now, linebacker feels different to me, Vance. That doesn't feel like just that the fixes there feel like they're or feel like they need to be more drastic. Feel like guys that just don't understand what they need to be doing. They feel like they feel like they're lost when I'm watching the tape. I don't know how you feel about it, but that's just how it looks. I'm curious what you thinking.
The execution, in my opinion, was bad, and I'm just speculating on what they were doing sometimes. But the guys look lost. But again, last year we had a 6-year senior and a 5th-year senior linebacker. That's a lot of football, Sam. They can get everybody lined up, make checks, make corrections. Right now, we're not getting any checks or corrections made by the linebackers. That goes to a lack of experience, and it looks that way. They have no idea what's going on around them by formation. They don't understand if it's 3rd down and 15, you need 15 yards for a 1st down. Okay, at least I'm going to be 15 yards deep. So now they're going to throw it down the middle of the field. He got to elevate it because I'm my depth. So those are some things, again, that could be corrected. But it is if that our guys didn't understand it's 3rd and 15, you need 15 yards. Mm-hmm. They didn't understand that. It's like they were lost about down and distance because I don't see guys communicating. I don't see guys talking to each other. Hey, we got this, play the sticks. I saw none of that. I just saw guys playing a position like it's 1st down and 10, but it's 3rd down and 13.
Yeah, one of the things to me at that position, because a guy that I really felt like has been coming on is number 30, Jimmy Roller, and I feel like competition is a way to kind of spur some guys on, at least on passing downs, man. Because that's where it kind of shows. I'm not to say that it didn't show up on running downs too, because it obviously did. It obviously did. But passing downs, especially where guys would lose track of their responsibilities, or they would watching the quarterback and losing track of their receivers and coverage. Hey man, I'm really, if I'm a coach, which I'm not, I'm thinking about competition at that position would be intensifying in practice. If it's me.
The thing about it, when you are into the season, I mean, when you talk about competition, it really isn't. You got a 1st team and a 2nd team. It's the reason why you finished up that way. So there's no competition. If you're competing right now for a position, you're in trouble. Mm-hmm. You got a guy who's a 1st teamer for a reason. And so the other guy might get playing time. He might be more of a specialist in 3rd down situation because he's better than somebody else. That happens. But 1st and 2nd down, there's no competition. This is my guy. Now, you rotating guys in to keep them fresh, but there's no competition right now.
Well, here's what I'm thinking. This is why I say that, Vance. I mean, you had guys running wide open. I mean, if they're not being covered by anybody, you might as well have a 2nd team guy out there. I mean, a 2nd team guy could not cover somebody.
There's a lot of truth to that. There's a lot of truth to that. But I'm gonna go back to this: is you're doing too much. Mm-hmm. I was always one of those guys. I was at Louisville, and we had a small package at times, and we slowly built it up as our guys became better. But if I couldn't get it worked in practice the right way, I kicked it out. I said, if you want to put this defense in, what are we taking out? They can do it. I said, you want to put this defense in, what are we taking out? Because I wanted our kids to play fast and I want them to think. And so when it comes down to it, what can your kids do? What can they handle? Last year's group was a senior team. They can handle almost anything. You don't have that right now. So you got to step back and see what can these guys actually do? Can they make adjustments to what they're seeing right now? These players can't make adjustments to formations. They have no idea. And that's part of the problem.
And then on the back end, obviously you got Will, who is gonna know what he's doing on every down. Makari, who's gonna know what he's doing on every down, and then you got some new pieces to the puzzle after that, Vance, and so you got some gaps to fill elsewhere, and we kind of saw that on film. So what about that piece of it?
Well, I looked last year. Little Mike got guys lined up too.
Mm-hmm.
He can make checks and get guys lined up. He can do different things to help people out. You have none of that right now. I don't see anybody communicating and talking in the back end. I think that's a big problem of what I'm seeing right now. So it's not just linebackers and D line, it's even in the back end. I don't see that communication anywhere. And I think that's a problem. And again, I don't know what Texas had done in the first ball game, but we were not ready to the formation they gave us. Our guys were not prepared for what they saw.
All right, folks. As I said, if you have questions for Vance, and look in this game too, let's relax. Not okay. Relax is the wrong word. Let's not panic. 2 games into the season, Texas is clearly one of the best teams in the country, maybe the best team in the country. So there's time to improve, and you're not facing Texas every week. So they can get better, and there are going to be some teams that you can really improve against. So they call it practice for a reason, and so let's see how they bounce back this week. And maybe what you said, Vance, is part of it. Maybe you scale some things back, and you do what they can do, because you said something real key. You've been a part of transitions before. You stepped into teams that had some success, had players that had used to doing things a certain kind of way, and you as a coach have to adapt or get them to adapt to you. How do you do that as a coach?
And when I came to Michigan in 1995, and I went to the University of Florida in 2008. Okay, I brought something totally different, and the players had to buy into it. And it took a while for that to happen, but by the time we got to the first ball game, they had bought into what I was bringing to them. I had a chance to show them on video, and I just told them one thing, man, just trust me. Trust me, it's going to work. And when they start working, they really bought into it. And after that, they start selling it to anybody else who came into the program. And so right now, everybody's going back to, well, we're running the same defense we have for the previous 3 years. No, you're not. You're not running the same defense. You don't have the same players out there. You have a different guy calling the defense. And his philosophy is different than the previous 2 guys. That's an adjustment in itself. You have 7 new coaches on your staff. The entire defensive staff is brand new. And they teach things totally different than the previous guys have taught. That's an adjustment phase that the players are going through. And last year, the University of Michigan, the second game of the year, didn't play no Texas or Georgia or Oregon. They had another patsy the second game of the year. And that's different. And so, no, I'm not in a panic mode. Let's take a step back, look where we are. What do we need to improve to give our players confidence? And let's keep things rolling.
Absolutely. All right. Let's start getting to the questions for Coach Bedford. All righty. Let's get to the first one. And let's start with the question from Jim Candela. He asks, Vance, what do you think about moving Will around on the defense to get him more involved? Too good to not be able to make plays. What do you think about that, Vance?
It depends on the other players. I go back to 97, and we started playing Charles Woodson at the nickelback. But again, I had Andre Weathers, who I thought was a heck. He made all conference. Will Peterson and James Whitley. Will Peterson started 7 years in the NFL at corner. So we were able to move Woodson inside because I had talent. I have no idea what kind of talent they have in the back end to move them, but you can match Will up. Going to that ball game, their most dangerous receiver was Isaiah Bond. Well, on the first, third down, and 13 on double move, guess where the ball went? Isaiah Bond. So guess what, in my opinion, Will should have been? On Bond. And make the other guys beat me, but don't let that guy beat me. Somebody else might beat me, but he's not going to beat me. So I'm going to match my best player on him. But otherwise than that, unless you have better players to come in like we had in 1997 with Will Peterson and James Whitley and Dwayne Patman, it's tough to make them play nickel or corner because I don't know if they have the people to do that. But you can match them up.
All right. Let's go on to the next one. Vance, Elk 70. What will Wink have to do to account for Hill being targeted all game?
But you know what? In the game of football, especially in college football, the ball's on the hash a lot of times. So people have a tendency to throw the ball to the short side of the field. Okay. So when the ball's to the short side of the field, a lot of times the ball goes there. So they play left and right corners primarily. So you'll see Will sometimes into the boundary. But you know what Will's going to be all the time. He's going to be the left corner to the defensive right hand. So a lot of times the ball is going away from Will. But if that's the case, it's almost to a point right now, unless they got a great receiver, you make them have to throw the ball to the field and let Will be your boundary corner. And therefore, you're going to make them throw the longest throws.
All right. Vance, from your wealth of, this is from Nicholas Early. Vance, from your wealth of coaching experience, was it more player problems or scheme coaching problems this past Saturday?
It was both. It wasn't just one. It was both. It's rarely just one. I think maybe you need to cut back on what you're doing. The players got to execute. For example, when it's third down and 13, how's a defensive end rushing right down the middle? That has nothing to do with coaching. That kid's been taught to get on the edge. It's third down and 13. Go on the edge and speed rush. This guy's 355 pounds. He rushed right down the middle. He just got held. And another time, we rushing right down the middle, let the quarterback escape through the middle. Nobody's winning one-on-one. The players out there. Now, some other things, scheme-wise, versus 12 personnel, that's coaching. You got to make that adjustment, make that a check. But again, I don't think they were prepared for that particular personnel and that formation coming to this ball game. So it was both, and not just one, it's both.
All right, let's keep moving on. Next question. This is from Steve Horn. Vance, do you see Barham and Houseman as guys that play coming forward well, but not so much when they drop into coverage?
I think it's a combination of both. It's not just one. I think it's both. I mean, I think that the guys are not seeing the game. They're not reading their keys to understand how they need to react to things. They don't understand down and distance. They don't know how to read if a lineman is sitting, hi-hat. They don't know the split of receivers. I see guys, I'm talking about the whole back seven. They just lining up and they playing ball. And I always say, if you're just playing ball, then you're a DA. A DA is a dumbass. You're doing nothing. You're trying to defend 53 yards from sideline to sideline. And that's what I see the back seven doing sometimes. You have no idea where your help is, what's going on. You have no idea. And that's what I'm seeing right now from the back seven. Not just two, I'm talking from the whole back seven.
All right. Let me get myself together. Nala, who always asks great questions. Van Sam, congrats to Texas. I agree. Yours is baller, crushes on third downs. That third TD rolling out to the left was a dime. Executed it well. Any way to defend that play better from our side?
Yeah, the defensive end get up the field, no rush down the middle. It's just, that's how simple it is. It's not hard. We gave the guy the escape lane because of how we rushed. That's my whole point. Our rush lanes were absolutely awful. And that's something that's easily corrected. I can't foresee that happening again in the future. I really don't. So that's correctable.
All right. Let's go ahead and get to the next question. This is Vance. Do you see a drop off in conditioning, or was it just a case of the defense just being on the field too much?
Our defense is on the field too much. You know, again, we talked about this in the film study. Last year, I would imagine Mason and Big Grant played maybe on average 30 plays a game. That's because our offense, they ground chuck, they ate up clock, the guys had a chance to rest. We were able to keep those guys fresh. We played too deep last year. It wasn't a major drop off. You remember last year, Mason was hurt. He was out of a couple of games. We never missed Mason. And so those guys are getting tired. It's not about conditioning. They're not used to playing 50, 55 plays a game. And also, if your offense is having 3 and outs all the time, you get no chance to rest, and your defensive coaches get no opportunity to make adjustments to anything.
All right. Vance, this is an offensive question. Jason Forrest Grin says, who should be our QB? Why didn't we go to the portal?
That's a question for Al. I have no idea. Quarterback-wise, the only thing I'll make comment about the quarterback, the kid won the job. Now, for me personally, I'm not going to have a guy come off the bench and one play and go send him back. He going to go play a series. I mean, just if he will go on one play, they play and run, I'm going to make him throw the football. I'm just going to do something they're not expecting. So to me, that's coaching. I'm going to be after the offensive coordinator. That's not very smart. I'm sorry. I can't agree with that. You put a guy for one play and then take him out, and all he's going to do the same thing week in, week out. Got nothing to do with the kid. They plan you for him to run the ball, throw the football in. I'm not doing that to that kid. Now, I'm not an offensive guy, but when I sat there and watched the game, trust me, I wasn't very happy. And the transfer portal, I have no answers for that. I have no idea.
All right. On to the next one. I told you. Vance is what you call a straight no chaser, folks. Straight no chaser.
I told him, you give anybody my phone number and they're going to get the same thing. I have no issues.
Hey, brother. Hey,
you know
hey, Vance, don't I tell you all the time? I tell you, hey, we don't have no filter around here, brother.
No whatsoever.
Filter around here. Hey, we don't have no filter, no censor, nothing. when Clint called me and said, hey, do Vance have a problem with my DBs? What'd I say? I said, hey, brother, hey, we ain't no problems, Clint. Anyway, let me get back to
You're going to have Clint calling us from Los Angeles, man.
that was my very first interaction with Clint about 15 years ago. When Clint called me up, he said, hey, why are you recruiting my DB for Michigan? I said, hey, man, who is this? I don't know you. You don't know me. Call me about the blue. Like, who the hell is this? Oh, man. Anyway, let me see. I had just interviewed the dude. I wasn't recruiting just his DB. Next one. Vance. In 1998, how did the team bounce back from 0-2 after allowing 35 plus points in the first 2 games?
Simplified. We got back to all we did is talk fundamentals. We never got away from it. We kept sticking with the fundamentals. Hey, we keep doing what we're supposed to do. We execute. We're going to be just fine. You know, we lost a good group of leaders from that team. We had guys in the back end with a bunch of sophomores. Marcus Ray was back. Andre was back. Sam Sword had graduated. Mike Elson was gone. Glenn Steele was gone. So people expected us to be great. We weren't, but we were good. And we played 2 teams from App State who came in and upset us. And the next game from Oregon, who blew us out of the water. We just stayed with the fundamentals. We got back to the fundamentals and executed, and we got the team back in line.
I think he saw no. You're talking about 2007. I think he meant after you won the championship
in 1998. Remember, we lost to App State. No, you're right. No, we lost the first 2 games. We lost the first 2 games. App State you're right, in 2000 later. But again, all those guys had graduated. Glenn Steele was gone. Sam Sword was gone. Mike Elson. We had lost a lot of guys. But yet, we had DeHoney Jones was a young guy. Ian Gold was a young guy. Those guys they were full-time starters, and the back end was the same way.
Y'all lost to Notre Dame to start the season.
Mm-hmm.
And then it was you remember it was Donovan McNabb came in and ran.
Syracuse lit us up like a Christmas tree.
Yeah.
And it showed our lack of athleticism. But Sam, we just got back to the fundamentals. We did. We never left that. And that's the key. And we cut back on a few things to get things rolling, to gain confidence. And that's all it was. And that's when I'm saying the same thing right now. If I'm at the University of Michigan, I'm cutting back.
Mm-hmm.
I'm getting back. How do we play? What's our base defense? I don't know what their base defense is. If it's over cover four, it's going to play over cover four. Have some different stunts. Off of that, then what we do? And now I'm going to say, we get these formations, we got to check out of this and go to this. You got to have a check system to make sure that we don't get outmanned and out leveraged because of the call. And those are things we did back in 1998. That's what we did.
Yeah, because I mean, but you mentioned 07, because that was
App
that
State.
that
Yeah.
was even worse because
Yeah.
you lost to App State and then got blown out by Oregon. Remember that?
The very next game.
Very next game.
And you know what? And I'll go back to, and Oregon reminds me a lot like Syracuse. The scheme they played, we was not able to defend it. We didn't execute. They had too much speed for us. The quarterbacks running all over the place. I think Brooks was the quarterback for Oregon. I mean, he running around throwing bombs, running his own RPO and taking off running. And we never executed. We never made plays on those guys. So, you're talking about 2 years, really, 98 and that 07, almost identical. They were almost identical. But again, in both situations, we just got back to the fundamentals, cut out some things, and kids started executing because we knew we had some talent. We just wasn't playing well. And that came back to us as coaches to get them to understand, to buy in, and to play better. And then we just kept saying, hey, man, we keep doing what we're doing, we're going to be okay. And in both situations, we were.
Jay Marion wants to know, Vance, would you run more zone over man? Seems like Wink is more a man-to-man guy, and McDonald and Mentor were more zone guys. Have you seen evidence of that?
Wink not running as much man-to-man as people think he is. He's running a lot of zone and zone blitzes. We ran a bunch of zone and zone blitzes with the previous two guys. Maybe not as much zone blitzing as Wink is doing, but Wink not playing a lot of man-to-man. When you get him backed up, he has proven he's going to run you zero blitz. If you go back to McDonald's first year, he ran some zero blitz and got burned too in the red zone. So some of the same similarities from that standpoint, but we're not playing a whole lot of man-to-man now. It's a whole lot of zone and a whole lot of zone pressures.
All right. On to the next one. Really, really, really good questions out here. Says Vance, why did Wink switch Mason from DT to DE?
He didn't. When you're on third down and he and his, I call it Joker. It's 3 down. You got a wide, 2 wide fives, and you got a nose. He's doing some type of blitzing. So either you take Mason off the field, who's your best football player on defense, or you find a way to keep him on the field. That's all he's doing. So he's letting his 2 best defensive tackles stay on the football field, and Mason's more athletic. That's why he got him in that position. Anytime he's in his 4-down package, Mason's back. He's back inside. So people see 2 or 3 snaps. Oh, he's playing defensive end. He's not playing defensive end, people. That's third down situations. He wants to keep his playmaker on the field, so he's playing defensive end. Just that simple.
All right. On to the next one. P. Maximus wants to know, why was Macari matched up with their tight end and looked lost trailing? It looks slow, he thinks.
You know what? I'm going to go back again to the formations that they used to put us in position to get him caught in that look. A lot of times in those situations, we were still playing zone. We really were. And that tight end had a great game versus us. And in play action pass, people just lost him. That's all it was. He got lost. And most of the time, we were playing some form of zone. We never really had him where we had a guy per se man-to-man on him. And that's what people don't realize. Majority of the game, we were in zone or zone pressure. We didn't play a whole lot of straight-out man. Like, our cat cover, they got this cat, you got that cat. We didn't do a lot of that.
All right. On to the next one. Let's keep it going. Oh, we already got to that one. Let's see. To the next question. All right. Vance, it was more of an O-line play calling problem. He thinks Warren wasn't impressive. He had a few bad throws, but he's 67% passing. Thinks that the quarterback play has been strong. Thinks it's more the offensive line and play calling. What say you?
Well, again, that should have been an Al question. He should be on that with Al. But for me personally, as I watch our offense, I am not afraid of what our quarterback can do. I'm not afraid of our wide receivers because they can't run past people. Therefore, a lot of that 6-7%, he's throwing to backs and tight ends. He's throwing screens. He's not throwing the ball 15 yards down the middle of the football field. That's how you beat good opponents. Throwing to backs and throwing to tight ends, that doesn't beat anybody. Those are nice, safe throws. And the offensive line, not doing it, in my opinion, they're getting pushed around. And so the quarterback does not always feel comfortable to hold the ball long and to throw the ball down the field. But we do a lot of max protecting, trying to protect them. We're trying to help our offensive line out. So when people say, well, he's 6 or 7%, okay, throwing to tight end and backs, that's fantastic. What about the wide receivers? Tight end and backs not going to beat me. You playing the University of Texas, you better throw it to wide receivers. Tight end and backs, I can live with that because you know what? That's 5-yard play. That's an 8-yard play. You're throwing the wide receivers, that's 15, 20, or maybe a touchdown. That's how you beat good football teams. But that's an Al question. You asked the wrong guy.
I hear you. I hear you. No, hey man, sometimes people want a defensive perspective.
Yeah, well, 67%, you're throwing the backs and tight ends, I'm going to beat you all day long.
I hear you. I hear you, Vance. All right. Here's one. Vance, what can the defense do better against Lincoln Riley and USC in 2 weeks? Because USC looks a lot stronger. Looks a lot stronger.
Their offensive line not going to be as good as Texas' offensive line. That's number one. So we should be physically better up front versus them than we were against the University of Texas. His run game is nothing like Texas does. Texas was a gap scheme all over the place. That's not what he does. Now, my concern for that game, he's more up-tempo than Sarkisian was. And if you remember, McDonald had issues with up-tempo. So Wink, that's going to be something new for him. But I'm not as concerned. Texas was a whole different bag of tricks. They got a quarterback that's a one-year starter who played really well in a bowl game last year and playing well this year. Now, defensively, they better defensively right now than were a year ago. They're still not as good as Texas defense. So our offense should have some success versus them. So in my opinion, we should be able to beat USC.
All right. Lama Bryant says, do the lack of sacks necessitate safety and corner blitz packages? You want to see more pressure from your DBs?
No, I don't. I don't. You know what? I don't want to see Will blitzing anymore. I want to see him covering. I really do. I mean, it's every time you blitz a corner or safety, that means you either got a defensive end or a linebacker. Somehow they got to be in a different coverage responsibility. They have not shown me the ability to do that in 2 ball games. They really haven't. I mean, we're doing, I call it 2 roll. That means it's a good chance you got a DB blitzing, or you got a corner who's normally a cloud technique, which means he's in the flat, or he is a quarters player. Right now, he's going to half field. Well, I got to be honest, I did some of that. I didn't spend a lot of time working that with the corner. So you're going to a game and you're calling that 4 times a game. Well, you hadn't worked a bunch of it in practice, so there's some weaknesses there. But you hoping your pressure gets there that they really can't attack that. So no, I don't want to see any more than what I've seen so far.
All right. Steve Horn says, Vance, do you feel better playing Barham back off the line more instead of mugging him up in the A gap all game? Maybe help him see it better.
Well, a lot of times when he was mugging up, it was based off of he's trying to show pressure. Those situations happen a lot of times in 3rd down. Okay, so you're trying to show pressure, or 2nd and long where he was blitzing. So they did some things based off of down and distance when he had to do that. Now, when you get into a running formation, all bets are off. I'm backing him up. I'm getting him in position to see things. And again, I could promise you the lack of experience is showing up for him in those particular situations, not recognizing formations and what people can do to you. And he has to get better at that.
Hey, cut from a different cloth. Man, appreciate you too. We appreciate you back. We appreciate you back.
Amen.
We appreciate the people that appreciate us. That is
right.
right. We appreciate the love. We appreciate the people that come back all the time because it's a whole lot of haters out there, especially these Buckeyes. These Buckeyes all over the place. They always showing up in our mentions and showing up watching us. I mean, it's crazy how we see all these Buckeyes. Now the Sparty's starting to show up. You
That's
know,
because Sam, they don't like their own team. That's
yeah,
why they show up in ours, because they don't like their own team. So they gotta find a good team, which is Michigan. That's why they do that.
Vance, Sparty's won a couple games. Now they feeling themselves a little bit. So now they starting to show up a little bit too.
They hadn't played anybody yet. They played the Sisters of the Poor.
I hear you. Now I'm back with another question. Coach, the last TD where they motioned the back and threw it. I hate this play, Vance. I hate this play. I hate all of them, but I really hate this play. The last TD where they motioned the back and threw it to him, where no one followed him. What happened there? Is that on the linebacker? This play is on the film study.
It's on the film study, and what I said on film study, I think they had a zero blitz where the linebackers were blitzing, and one of the things that the previous two coordinators did, I think Wheat does also, when you blitz an inside back, is he has a tendency to drop out either the tackles or the defensive ends, and they're responsible for the back. Now, if a back motions to empty, then a linebacker who was blitzing, he has to come out and cover him because you want a defensive end on the line of scrimmage, go out and cover a guy. That's what I think probably happened. So that linebacker was probably blitzing. And all of a sudden realized, I got to go cover him. Too little, too late. It was a touchdown. And so I think that was the issue in that particular situation.
And if you notice, the linebacker got out there but late.
Yeah.
It's like he recognized it, but hell, I mean, wasn't nobody covering the back.
I'm trying. Hey, Keith Sweat, that song you say nobody, he's singing that right now, all the way. But think about this, and you look at the different formations we talked about in the film study, and you look at that formation right there. Sarkisian played him for zero blitz and motion empty. He's in bunch, so he motioned basically to quads, which if you're in empty and bunch, if you don't play that right, all the receivers going to be open. So he playing him for zero blitz because you go back to Fresno State, he's zero blitz in that area. So again, we got schemed up. There you go, Keith Sweat right there. So Sarkisian played to what Wink did and scored off of it.
But if you got a veteran defense that knows their responsibility, that's covered because it's accounted for. Like your linebacker, to your point, like you just laid out all the responsibilities.
Mm-hmm.
What's supposed to happen, right? If they motion to empty, okay, your ends are not. They know they're not carrying that. They're not covering that guy. Linebacker don't blitz. You go out and you get him. Which it seemed like okay, the linebacker recognized, shoot, I'm not blitzing. I got to get out there and get this guy. But he recognized it like 2-3 seconds too late.
Yeah.
Now it's a touchdown.
It's a bad touchdown, bad look.
Yeah, man. So this gets to. We only got a couple more minutes. These people will be asking you questions all day because they love you, Vance. They love you. They love the straight no chaser. People think Devin Gardner is straight no chaser. That's
Hey, hard, man.
Here's the thing. Vance had the nerve to be like, hey man, Vance, DG just so hard. Man, Vance, you need to do, you need to listen to yourself. you need to listen to your films, to your breakdown. Listen
hey, Sam,
to Vance Bedford.
Sam, if you'd have got me, I started breaking down this game after the game happened. I got halfway through it. I had to stop. I was so frustrated. I had to stop. I had to catch my breath. I had to wait till Sunday when I came from church. I had to pray a little bit to get my mind right to finish it. I really did. I mean, because I like, and I tell people all the time, I went to the University of Texas. Texas is 1A and Michigan is 1B. And I was hoping Michigan put up a better game than what they did. I was disappointed in that. And I told people I'm going to be happy and sad at the same time. And I was.
Yeah. So this all gets to this question, Vance, because, it's all about the fixes. Some things are more fixable than others. Like I think like the things on the defensive line, I think man, they could fix. I think they could fix the things on the defensive line relatively quickly.
Yeah.
At the linebacker position, I think that might be a little. That might take a little longer. And so that this gets to Keegan Imhoff's question, Vance. How long does it take to fix the defense? How long do you think it takes to fix the defense?
See, to me, I never use the term fix. Fix means something is really broken.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, we got to make adjustments. We got to make corrections. If we do these type of things here, we'll be okay. For example, let's go back to in the first quarter, we had 2 scrambles that led to touchdowns. One got called back. Okay, if my defensive end is 3rd down and 13, you straight rush and be a little bit wider. Don't rush right down the middle. That's a correction can be made. Okay, my 2 guys inside. As you push the pocket, disengage to the gap so the quarterback can't step up. We never had push. So therefore, if I'm not winning one-on-one inside the push, I'm going to twist my 2 guys inside. My 2 guys inside means now it's like playing basketball. I'm setting a pick for this guy to come out and shoot his jumper. So I do that to eat up the gaps inside. So there's things you can do with that. And for the linebackers to make sure now, I need to see the guys talking to each other. Hey, I got a cloud. Hey, you got this covered. You got this covered. I need to see guys pointing and talking. I don't see any communication. All those are things that you can make these adjustments and corrections, and now you don't have a problem. And my last thing is I won't cut back. I won't cut back, take a few things out, make sure the things we have in we can execute. For example, Cowboys are a staple of Wink. It's a staple of 2 previous guys there. Okay, so now how do we correct this 3 technique or this 2 technique? If I'm to the field, I got to rip outside. Okay, my defensive end playing base football. If they're running a gap scheme play, in other words, the guy I'm on blocks down, I need to spill. But I always think about getting a second puller. Sam, you know how many times he did not do that? That's 4 or 5 times. Think if he execute half of those, one of them not going to be a touchdown. The other one probably go for 4 yards. But things of that nature, those are all things that could be corrected. And that just comes back to kids taking coaching. And the coaching makes sure the guys understand it and go to the, hey, Wink, we probably should have run this call. We're not prepared for it. We hadn't executed in practice. And Wink got to be man enough, hey, throw it out there. Don't sit back and say, well, they should know it. I was never one of those coaches. I was one of those guys, it didn't look good on Thursday. It didn't get called on Saturday. It had to be executed in practice to be called on the game. And everybody's not that way. I mean, so we did it. We had a lot of different things. But if it's not been executed on Thursday, it's not getting called on the game. I'm scratching off my call list.
Here's one thing as we wrap up. Moose says, our D was getting cooked because they were on the field too long. That will happen to any team. Offense has to sustain drives and give them time to rest. Being tired leads to sloppy tackling. Vance, I think he has a point. And while the offense does need to sustain drives and didn't sustain drives at all in the first half, only 21 plays I think they had. It should be pointed out, they didn't do their part, but the defense didn't do its part to get off the field in the first half either.
8 for 10 on 3rd down.
Yeah.
So think about that. Let's go back to the first drive. Okay, we have them 3rd and 13. This is the 3rd play of the game. We got 3rd and 13. They double move us in cover 3. We had a zone blitz on, I think, for a 1st down. Imagine if my man don't go for a double move. They punting the football. You off the football field. Then later on, we had a 3rd down, I think 11. And we let the quarterback scramble. That had nothing to do at that time with the offense. We had them 3 times 3rd and long and then get the job done. That wasn't offense. That was us. Now, as we got further on in the 1st quarter and 2nd quarter, what he just said is some truth to that. But in those other situations I just talked about, we had opportunities on defense to win. If you get somebody 3rd and 7, you look at statistics across this country, people play good defense. Normally, you own somebody to 20% or less. Instead, Sam, they were 8 for 10.
Yeah, that's bad. Now, and look, fatigue, I do believe fatigue wound up being an issue.
It did.
But the defense contributed to that.
They did.
Not getting off the football field when they had the opportunity to early in that half.
And we said in the film study last year for like Grant and Mason, they were playing 30, 35 snaps a game. So they stayed fresh because you really had too deep across the board. You really did. And for the linebackers, you are half deep. So in other words, they might come in and give our starters 15 plays to give them a break. Whereas D-line, they come in, be 30, they can give you 30 because you felt good enough. This year, those guys who are backups are starting, and they still look like backups.
All right, folks, we got to cut it because so Vance can get to his other duties for the day. We got the full hour in with the man himself, Vance Bedford. I want to remind you, the film study is a listen. Get through it. You'll learn a lot. This is teach tape. It's sobering. The team, I'm sure. Maybe the team should. Maybe the coaches don't watch it. Coaches.
Hey, if they watch it, hey, they can pick up the phone and call me, and guess what? I'm gonna shoot them straight too. Because, like I said, hey, I've been fired, hired, and now I'm on the side, retired.
Yeah, don't watch it.
I'm good.
Yeah, don't watch it. Players watch it, but suck it up, But coaches don't watch it. But to the rest of you, it is available exclusively on the Autograph app. Tom Brady's Autograph app is outstanding because it aggregates all the things that fans like to do. Your favorite Michigan blogs, all of our free content from the Michigan Insider, not our VIP content. You still have to go to the MichiganInsider.com for that. Football, basketball, and recruiting. Our VIP stuff, you still got to go over there for that, but our free stuff is over there. Of course, the football film studies is exclusively over on Autograph. Our podcasts over there as well, including from our radio show over there. And the great thing about it is when you do that, when you read those stories and blogs, you watch the film studies and all of that over on Autograph, you accrue points. And when you accrue those points, you can redeem those points for rewards. Give you that QR code to download the Autograph app right now. Put that QR code on the screen. Download the app, folks. And it is free. Again, it does not get better than free. This is not behind a paywall. You don't have to pay for the Autograph app. Download it right now. And let me tell you, it is an outstanding app. Right there on your phone. Drop it a bucket. Easy to get. It is also easy to download just by going to this following link, link.ag.fan/SamWebb. Again, that's link.ag.fan/SamWebb. If you don't want to download the QR code like some folks don't want to do, I get it. Just do it that way then and download the app. It'll be, I promise you, a great app for you. Hope to see you over on the Autograph app. And by the way, the film studies go up Wednesday mornings. Folks keep saying, I don't see it. That's because it goes up on Wednesday mornings, first thing in the morning. You can download the app right now and be ready. So it's there as soon as you wake up in the morning. Hope to see you over there. And don't forget, the Buckeye Breakdown, we need you to contribute to the PayPal link so Vance can get paid for breaking down the Buckeyes. All right? You don't want to break down the Buckeyes for free? You know how hard that is to watch that Buckeye film?
Hey, Sam, I'm looking at a comment over here. Somebody said they said some of these players need some grape Gatorade. oh my! Hey, I got one thing to say. Hey, my sister in Houston, Texas, she's older than me. She has the Autograph app. I have friends in Beaumont, Texas. They have the Autograph app. If they can do it, anybody can do it. Because my sister, she's not on the phone. She don't work on her phone with apps that way. So, and she's 68. If she can do it, all you people out there, come join us. Let's have some fun. Let's support our Wolverines because we're going to get it rolling, baby.
That is right. Until next time, folks, thanks for watching another edition of the Michigan Football Breakdown focused on the defense with Vance Bedford. We'll see you next week.
Go Blue.